Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Central Florida, the theme park capital of the world. We discuss theme park news, reviews, and history of parks as well. This week we got a lot of Disney updates, as well as a first-of-its-kind roller coaster coming to the United States. We're going to get more into that in just a moment. I am Tommy. Tristan, how you doing?
What's up, my boy? I'm doing good. My dog is eating my blanket on the floor right now.
Amazing. Good for Mr. Olaf.
Yep, he's enjoying. My grandma made that. Don't eat it. All right.
You know, grandmas are good at baking things. So
She did bake me that blanket. So
bake a very yummy blanket. 5-star review by Olaf. But all right. Let's get into some news.
Let's get into it.
So Disney's Hollywood Studios has extended hours. Those are back. The kind of extra magic hours that are now only for Disney Deluxe Resort guests. Those have returned to Hollywood Studios this week.
I remember those.
Yeah, right. They've only been back at Magic Kingdom and Epcot for a few months. Did they ever do them at Animal Kingdom? I don't remember.
I don't think so, but I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they did either. Like, they definitely did after hours events one summer, I think. But I guess, at the moment though, nothing like that has come back to Animal Kingdom.
No.
But speaking of Animal Kingdom, so Expedition Everest has been closed for refurbishment since January 3rd or 4th. But today, something interesting happened. People online were posting about how they were testing the ride with cast members only in the park today. Pretty interesting.
Oh, okay. So that might be a little hinty hint.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Hint. I'm kind of hoping, like, we usually record these a few days before we upload them. I'm hoping that it doesn't open before we upload that, but maybe that'll happen. But there have been humans on the ride, and looks like they might be getting ready to open up. I know that one of those clickbait news articles made a news article, Expedition Everest refurb indefinitely or whatever, but that was clearly an exaggeration or misinterpretation of something, because they're not letting cast members go on that if it's not ready.
Yeah.
So it should be opening soon, but Disney hasn't announced any date. I'm not sure if they are going to announce one, or if it's just gonna be like a surprise, we're open now. So who knows? Tristan, you know something? Tristan doesn't know anything. But speaking of roller coasters at Disney World, Cosmic Rewind has been officially announced to open on May 27th. DVC pass holder previews and cast member previews are available to sign up for now at this time, and it will be opening in just a little over a month. Tristan, how are you feeling about Cosmic Rewind?
Oh, I've been looking forward to this for so long, man. A new coaster.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me too.
Finally. And it's going to be
Epcot.
Awesome. And in Epcot of all places.
Like,
its
Epcot
first roller
is
coaster.
finally, after being open for almost 40 years, it finally gets a roller coaster.
Unbelievable. And it's going to be a killer one too. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be the best coaster on property?
Honestly, it will be up there, because my favorite coasters on property are Expedition Everest and Rock and Roller Coaster. And it definitely has potential. I don't know too many details about the ride. I've been trying to avoid as many details as I can. I do have a friend that's close with people that are working the ride currently that have said that it is very, very good. And with the previews coming up, that actually might be our next review. I think I forgot to mention what I was reviewing this episode at the beginning. I'll get to that in a moment. But I think the next episode we might be reviewing Cosmic Rewind, which is very exciting. New coaster, Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy too. One of my favorite things at Epcot, which is now gone, the Epcot experience, I always loved seeing that presentation, and one of my favorite parts was the Cosmic Rewind part of it, where they have that Xandarian whatever person and then just rocket interrupt. Like that was honestly, I wish they would just keep that on loop for 12 hours a day at Epcot. Like I miss the Epcot experience. We need to bring that back, even though
Yeah.
most of those things are like opening or I've already opened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Do we have that? That's a good question though. What's coming up that we
the
don't
only
already know? You know.
so yeah, because right now, I mean, most of the center of the park is still closed off. They did finally open a path from the very front entrance all the way to World Showcase, because before you had to walk all the way through either World Nature or World Discovery, but now you can kind of walk straight through. Did Connections Cafe open up already?
I don't think so.
I don't that because Connections Cafe is opening soon. Of course, that restaurant that is in the old Electric Umbrella location. That's also gonna contain the Starbucks for Epcot. Starbucks was its own location, and now it's going to be a part of Connections Cafe. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. Because in terms of what they haven't announced or what they've announced that still needs to be open, they're still working on the Moana Journey of Water walkthrough. There isn't a clear cut news on what's happening with that um, festival pavilion tower or whatever that's supposed to be built. I know some people have said it's going to be canceled. I don't know if that was ever officially announced. Like, it might just be hope on my part, but I feel like they didn't actually officially announce that being canceled. Like, postponed, I think. I know, like, they took out that section of the Epcot experience at one point. But I hope they do something there, because right now it's just a pile of dirt and we need something pretty to walk by on our way to World Showcase. So
Yeah, that was actually the thing I was most excited for.
me too. Yeah.
I thought that thing looked awesome. Like,
Yeah. Like the
especially the thing
greenery
on
on
the
top.
top of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
Like
on.
there was one YouTube video I watched, like, with Cosmic Rewind, like the commercial that's been playing, there's a part of it where, they're kind of these aliens are like kind of looking out a window, and in the background you see the Epcot ball. And someone pointed out that kind of looks like where the festival pavilion was supposed to be, that they were standing in that pavilion that was supposed to be there. So maybe we nothing's official though. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then our final piece of Disney news is there's going to be some changes coming to a very popular show, Disney Kite Tales, everyone's favorite show that debuted for the 50th anniversary.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I think you said the word popular.
Yes. Yeah, a
Oh,
lot
you
of
meant
people.
to?
Yes, a lot of people love Kite Tales. They love it so much that there's going to be more Kite Tales performances throughout the day very soon. But with that, they are going to be taking out the theater performers, and it's going to be mainly just it's basically just going to be kites only. And instead of being announced show times, it's going to be kind of like the character boats that come out randomly. It's going to be more of, if you're walking by, you might hear the music for the kites and you might see the kites. So it'll be more of a random ambiance type of thing versus the actual show that they've been doing since October 1st.
I get that. I get that change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get the change too.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know if people that show was pulling people as much as other shows have. So maybe making it just a cavalcade type of thing, and then obviously it's going to cost the
Mhm.
company less money to not have
Yeah.
the live performers there. So
For sure. And then plus maybe those performers could potentially go to the new Nemo show. Who knows? I do think, like, yeah, because there were times where the show did pull in crowds, and occasionally people would leave happy, but it's definitely a show that's received that received criticism ever since it debuted. But then also kind of from like Disney's point of view, that the Nemo musical will be reopening at some point, and the Nemo Theater is right next to one of the Kite Tales theaters. And if they were trying to like pack in Kite Tail shows and Nemo shows at once, the show dumps for that would be kind of a nightmare on their end, probably. So I don't know if that went to that decision at all, but it's definitely going to be a good outcome for whenever Nemo does eventually come back.
yes.
Yes. Tristan's yes. Next piece of news.
Next piece of news.
All right, fantastic. There's going to be a very unique, first of its kind coaster in the United States coming in 2023. Cotaland in Austin, Texas, will be opening America's first Vekoma Tilt Coaster. So basically, the coaster, once you get to the top of the chain lift, it'll turn the corner, and then instead of dropping like a normal coaster would, the track will tilt 90 degrees, and then you'll drop. It's the first of its kind in the States. It's going to be very, very cool. Cotaland, of course, is also opening that new palindrome coaster, a first of its kind Gerstlauer shuttle coaster. So it looks like Cotaland, which initially only had kiddie rides, opening up a coaster this year. Also going to open one next year. Look, I think they're trying to become a new thrill destination.
Mm.
So all my coaster theme park thrill enthusiasts, you got to add another destination on your Texas theme park road trip. You already got two Six Flagses and uh, their SeaWorld in Texas. I feel like there's at least one or two other theme parks. I don't know.
And the Alamo.
The Alamo, yep, the Alamo, right in San Antonio near Fiesta, Texas. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they've I think like the track work for oh my god, Doctor Diabolical's cliffhanger is like pretty much done now.
Is that at the
That
Alamo?
it's at Fiesta, Texas, which is near the Alamo.
Oh,
Six Flags, Fiesta, Texas,
oh, no.
of course. Uh, Excuse me.
Nothing but the best here, folks.
Correct. Great content.
Oh, well, I mean, it makes sense that Texas is getting some more fun stuff. It's not fair to the whole world that Ohio gets two major theme parks when the rest of Ohio is awful,
That's correct.
and you have to travel through Ohio to get
I
there.
know. And
Come on,
speaking of which,
Texas better.
I'm actually next month. I'm actually going to be going to one of those theme parks in Ohio. Last year, of course, I finally did a Cedar Point trip, and in May, I'm going to be doing my Kings Island trip.
Mm.
And when I visit Kings Island, I should be getting my 100th coaster credit, so I'm very excited for that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make it the Beast, which is a legendary wooden coaster that I'm pretty sure is the longest roller coaster, at least in North America, possibly the world. And
I
it's
don't
held that
know.
record. Yeah.
Tune into our theme park Tristery to find out later today.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Oh,
alert.
all right. I know that they have been working on a refurbishment of the Beast. It was supposed to end at the end of March, but it's still going on. Someone I know who works in the industry deeply thinks it's going to be opening up early May, and I'm going from the 18th through the 20th of May. So fingers crossed it's open by then. Worst case, I got to settle for Diamondback or Orion,
Yeah,
two very large B&M coasters. Oh man.
darn.
Yeah, darn, I got to settle for one of the. Anyway, what were we talking about?
The Alamo.
The Alamo, correct. Roller coasters at the Alamo.
Yeah. No, well, we were talking about Cotaland opening that Vekoma Tilt
Oh yeah,
Coaster,
some about Texas. You had words.
Texas.
Yeah,
It's better than Ohio.
Texas is better than Ohio.
Yeah.
They're both those states do kind of suck outside of the roller coasters. I feel like I don't know.
But Texas has some great stuff to see, man. It's got beaches. It's got a bunch of major cities that are hip and cool and Tex-Mex food.
Okay, I guess they do have a little bit more going for it.
Yeah,
I
come
guess.
on.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
it's poor infrastructure. I don't know.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, whatever. It's like don't live in Texas when it snows, because then your house will explode. I don't know.
Is that a fact? All right. Well,
Anyway,
I think yeah, that about covers it for our news items, doesn't it there, Tommy lad?
it does. That's all the news we had this week on Please Remain Seated. And now to our review. So for this week's review, I'm going to be reviewing two roller coasters in Orlando, Florida at Fun Spot America, White Lightning and Freedom Flyer. So I'll be going to two, like, how do we even describe a fun spot? Kind of like a state fair, a tiny state fair that's always there.
Yeah, it's like they unloaded those temporary carnival rides that fold out from a semi truck bed, bolted them to the ground, called it a permanent theme park, and
Essentially,
that's where you
essentially, yeah, because it's pay per ride, or you can buy a pass that's like it's like $5 per small ride, $10 per riding on roller coasters, and then I think you can buy a $60 pass for unlimited rides for the entire day. I got three rides because I wanted to do one on Freedom Flyer, then two on White Lightning, one in the front row, one in the back row. Freedom Flyer is a Vekoma suspended family coaster, which packed a little bit more of a punch than I was expecting. It's a pretty fun little coaster there. And then White Lightning, of course, the icon of the park, manufactured by GCI, Great Coasters International, known for oh my god, I was just looking this up.
The Alamo.
The Alamo. They're known for the Alamo. Thunderhead at Dollywood is one of them. Mystic Timbers, I think it's called, at Kings Island. But they've made some very good wooden coasters, and one of them just happens to be at a fun spot in Orlando. Both roller coasters were very fun. White Lightning was not as rough as you'd expect for a wooden coaster at a fun spot. I know they did recently do a retracking on a section of it that made it smoother. I never rode it before that. I just rode it this time around. I think that was yesterday as of recording this. Very fun ride in the front row, and then it was even more intense in the back row, as most coasters are. Had some very fun airtime moments on it. If you live in the Orlando area and you need an extra couple coaster credits, you need something else to do, go for it. For any theme park enthusiasts, if you have extra time on your Orlando trip, feel free to check it out. If you're just here on a regular vacation, it's definitely not one that I would recommend, like, oh, you got to come here and travel to do this. But, if you just happen to be able to do it, they're both fun coasters, White Lightning and Freedom Flyer.
Now, to clarify, this is not the fun spot that's in Kissimmee, Florida.
Correct. Yes, because there are two fun spots here in Orlando. Fun Spot America, which is in Orlando, that has White Lightning, and then Fun Spot Kissimmee, which has Mind Blower, which I have been on that one as well. And when I rode it once 3 years ago and then once recently. And when I went on it 3 years ago, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a very fun ride. It actually has like a barrel roll on it. That's really cool. But when I went on it a few months ago, it was much rougher than it was 3 years ago. Like my entire body was rattling in a way that I don't think has on a roller coaster before. So, yeah.
Oh.
It moved down a few spots in my ranking because of that.
Oh no. Fun spot
Yeah.
Kissimmee down at the bottom of the list. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, who would have known?
Yeah. I drive past Fun Spot Kissimmee on a somewhat regular basis, and I mean, it hurts just to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're happen to pass by and you want the coaster credit, it's worth it. But
I don't know.
like, it's not a bad roller coaster. It's just gotten very, very rough.
All right. Well, good stuff over there. Fun Spot Orlando. What geographic part of Orlando is Fun Spot Orlando or Fun Spot America?
Fun Spot America, it was right off exit 74 or 75B, so just a little bit past Universal.
Okay.
I live a little bit what do you call it, west
The
of
Alamo.
that. Yes, I live in the Alamo. So it is east of Disney and a little bit close to Universal.
So is it near? Is it off International Drive?
It's near International Drive.
Near International Drive.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
It's like not far from there.
Whatever. Look it up
Yeah.
on a map if you want to go there, folks.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I literally just Google Apple Maps it, whichever one I used.
All right, cool. Hey, man, that's a cool time. Yeah, if you have I mean, how much is admission? Is there admission to?
It doesn't cost any money to park or get in. It's just pay per ride.
Oh wow. Okay.
If you want to do unlimited rides, you can get like a $60 pass, and then I think there's a 70, because there was two other like much more extreme rides there that I didn't really take a look at. Like it honestly does. It looks like it could be a fun time. Like it's kind of dwarfed by Universal and Disney and SeaWorld. But if you live in Orlando and just want to do something a little bit different, it does look like it could be a fun day. I don't know if I'll have the time for it myself, but fun little carnival rides. Had a tiny 2-story carousel. Like, it was very tiny, but it had 2 stories on it.
Oh, hey, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
think of it this way: pay $60 to ride all the rides you want. That's still way less than a ticket to anywhere else around.
Absolutely. And like, I mean, and the rides at the time that I went in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, and everything was a walk-on. So if I'm paying $60 and just marathoning White Lightning, Freedom Flyer, and doing all the other rides, like that's honestly like kind of worth it.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible day. Like White Lightning was pretty fun. It's like I kind of glossed over, but it was a fun time.
Yeah.
I think my favorite element was sometime like in the section of the ride after the drop, there was an airtime hill, I think, and then there was like a double up. I like a nice double up.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. And then some airtime hills in the second half. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fun
Mm-hmm.
spot, America.
America. Well, we've been talking about all these coasters. I hope that all of our coaster fans are salivating right now because we're about to dive deep.
I can't. I'm very excited for this deep dive.
Deep dive tristery.
I can't
Uh,
wait to say yes after it.
yes, yes. And that's what it's going to be at because I'm going to talk for 20 minutes.
And then I will say yes. I'm excited.
So today's theme park tristery lesson is the history of roller coasters. Now I had to water this down. I spent like probably close to 2 hours today on Wikipedia, getting like kind of reading about all this, and I really had to water it down to like fit it into a somewhat short list. But basically, I'm just gonna read it off my thing here. The first iteration of a roller coaster was found in 17th century Russia, of all places, in the
17th century.
1600s. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Would you believe it? And it really did somewhat resemble what we now know as a roller coaster. It was basically icy hills and paths that were sometimes reinforced by wooden supports, and we would be ridden on in sleds or a wheeled cart. You know,
Wow.
and could reach heights of up to 70 or 80 feet with a drop of up to 50 degrees.
Wow.
Kind of crazy to think
Yeah.
about 1600s.
Yeah. Sure.
People doing this in Russia too.
Yeah.
It was in the 1800s that it was thought to secure vehicles to a track with guide rails, and it was done in Paris in 1817, where a wheeled car was towed up a tower and then curved down the twisting track. Within a few years, rides of the same manner were built in Paris, all named as mountains, oddly enough. And I thought this was interesting. They were named things like the Swiss Mountains, the American Mountains. That was the name of these roller coasters.
Oh wow.
To tie it to Disney, it's kind of interesting that Disney has a whole bunch of rides that are themed as mountains.
Yep.
And even way back then in the
Yeah.
1800s in Paris, they were naming the rides
Space
after
Mountain,
mountains.
Thunder Mountain,
Swiss
Matterhorn Mountain.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Tivoli Gardens in Denmark opened years later in 1845, featuring a roughly 650-foot long coaster track in the shape of a double eight. And in the 1850s, a mining company in Pennsylvania built a gravity railroad for transporting coal. But by the 1870s, just about 20 years later, it was already being used as a thrill ride. The first vertical loop coaster was opened in 1895 at Sea Lion Park in Brooklyn. That you heard that right. 1895, a looping coaster.
Yeah. And I was gonna. Sorry if I cut off what you were about to say, but didn't that loop exert like 10 or 12 G's of force, and would be that nothing like that would be made today because that's way too dangerous.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it closed quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
someone wrote it.
Yeah, loops did not take proper shape until you'll get to that at some point, probably.
I think I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting here is this first looping coaster was designed by someone named Lina Beecher. It was a guy who also happened to invent a form of the monorail and a portable phone for the Army.
Wow.
Once again, name is Lina Beecher. My mom's maiden name is Beecher.
Thank you, Beechers.
Who knows?
That's why you like theme parks. It's in your blood.
It could be. This guy died in Michigan, and I believe my family's from Michigan. So
you are related to him.
I might be. You
related. Are 100% related to him.
Yeah. So I might actually. I'm gonna talk to somebody and see if I can get a lot of money.
Yeah.
Since someone is related to invented this. But anyway, so the wooden coasters were then built throughout the late 1800s and into the 1920s, most notably the Cyclone at Coney Island, like that TikTok. I'm going to ride the Cyclone, Joe Byron. But the Great Depression caused a decline in amusement park attendance that lasted until the 1970s, nearly 50 years of amusement parks really not being, the thing to do, with the exception of like Disneyland and Walt Disney World. But until the Racer was opened at Kings Island in Ohio. That was in the 70s sometime. However, in 1959, a new design of roller coaster was invented for Disneyland, and that was the tubular steel tracked coaster, designed mainly by legendary Disney Imagineer Bob Gurr. who we actually covered, I believe, on the last episode. And that was probably the biggest step forward in roller coaster design at that point. I mean, think of how many coasters now use the steel tubular track. The first modern coaster to feature an inversion was Corkscrew at Knott's Berry Farm in 1975, followed by the first modern vertical loop coaster, Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain in 1976, also in California. The Beast at Kings Island was the tallest, fastest, and longest wooden coaster when it opened in 79 and is still the longest wooden coaster in the world. The first Vekoma coaster, Python, opened in the Netherlands in 1981. And the first coaster to operate in reverse was Racer at Kings Island in 1982. The first inverted coaster was Batman at Six Flags Great America in 1992. I've actually ridden that one. A lot of fun.
Yeah. And then they've cloned that ride at almost every Six Flags park in existence.
They have. They have. And the first use of onboard audio was on Space Mountain in Disneyland Paris in 1995.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what Wikipedia said. The first tire-propelled launching coaster was actually Hulk at Universal's Island of Adventure in 1999.
Ooh, wow.
Which also opened the first inverted dueling coaster that same year, Dragon Challenge.
Yeah.
King Dakar, previously the fastest coaster in the world and still the tallest, opened in 2005 at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. The most expensive coaster in the world at the time was Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom, which cost $100 million, but was later beat in 2019 by Universal's Hagrid's, which cost $300 million.
Yeah.
And that is insane.
Yeah, I mean, between the multiple launches, elements, and theming, I could see that.
It does make sense. It does make sense. All right, Formula Rossa opened in 2010 as the fastest coaster in the world at Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, and it still holds that record. The fastest wooden coaster with the longest and steepest drop, Goliath, opened at Six Flags Great America in 2014. I've ridden that one too. Yeah. Followed by the tallest and fastest Giga Coaster, Fury 325 at Carowinds.
I'm gonna be riding that next week, actually.
Next week?
Yeah, I'm going up to North Carolina for my niece's first birthday, but I'm gonna make a stop in Charlotte and go to Carowinds. I think I said at Kings Island I'm gonna get my 100th. At Carowinds I'm gonna get my 90th with Copperhead Strike. I did go on Fury a few years ago and I really liked it, but it's not very high up in my rankings for some dumb reason. So I feel like it's gonna end up in my top 10 hopefully or something. But anyways, very excited to ride Fury.
Well, speaking of Tommy's top 10, this is my last fun fact here in the Tristery. The first ever hyper hybrid coaster opened in 2018, Cedar Point, Ohio. And what is it, Tommy?
Steel Vengeance.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Yep.
That's it. And that takes you, I just took you here from the 1600s to 2018, or 2019 really, with Hagrid's.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Who'd have thunk? Roller coaster history.
Who would have thunk? Funny enough, I was watching a random theme park review about, I think it's Silverwood in Iowa or Idaho. I feel like I should know the park. I should know the state better. And I think Knott's Berry Farm, that corkscrew coaster, got moved over there.
Cool.
Yeah. Fun fact. Yeah, fun fact.
I don't think it's in Iowa because I've been to Iowa and there's nothing there.
Maybe it's Idaho.
So I think it must be Idaho or Illinois.
Something like that.
Indiana.
Well, I mean, you do have that Six Flags Great America that you discussed. Goliath is a fully wooden coaster with the stall and everything.
I believe so. That's what Wikipedia said.
You know, I could believe it.
Does it count if the obviously parts of the track have to be made out of metal?
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, then I'm pretty sure it is all wooden. Yeah.
Sick.
I don't know. It was fun. It was a cool ride.
Yeah. Amazing.
Maybe we'll go to Illinois together, Tommy. And
honestly, we should. And we are going to that Six Flags. Yeah. We have two different agendas.
You can meet the Beachers.
I can meet the Beachers. Correct.
Yeah. My grandma and grandpa are still Beachers.
I want to meet the inventor of the military portable phone.
All right. Hey, this is a good one. Good history. Good review.
This was a fun episode. Yeah. Can't wait. See us next time where we will review Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Oh gosh, I'm so excited for that episode.
Me too, dude. Social media, Twitters, Instagrams, Facebooks.
You know what
Rate
it
and
is.
review, Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Tommy, what do you got?
Please remain seated, tug on your yellow straps, pull up the lat bars, etc. Thanks for listening to us.
That's it.